about home. They're married to real estate.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast for people who love real estate and want to become inspired and informed. Whether you are a newbie real estate agent looking to get tips and learn a thing or two, or maybe you are a savvy property owner who wants to get a jump on the market, this is the place for you. We discuss our passion for real estate and people. We bring together our personal experiences as well as our guests to learn from each other. You'll hear from experts in sales coaching, real estate law, mortgage lending, investing, and many local business owners on how to grow your business or your investment in real estate. I'm Mary Forrester.
I'm Mary McCauley.
And I'm Mary Elliott.
And we are
Married to Real Estate.
Hi, and welcome. Welcome to Married to Real Estate again, Friday, the 13th of January.
That's right. And our first for 2023.
And in 2023,
Boom.
we're
Happy
really
New
happy.
Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. we made it.
We're here. 2023.
Yeah, and did you hear we got nominated for some other award now?
Yeah, some creative award.
I did not
so
hear that.
exciting. So hopefully we'll win and get a nice, cool
crystal thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, for real? We get crystal?
Yeah.
Yay!
Lucite maybe. But it
I'm
looks
okay
like
with
crystal.
lucite too.
This reminds me probably when Oprah started, 40 years ago, and somebody said, "Oh, you might win something." I was like, "Ladies,
You get a
We're going to be giving away
trophy.
cars before you know it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Well, it's a pleasure. It is a pleasure. And I know the year has been starting off busy. Very busy, it looks like.
I just got a notice I'm now part of Keller Williams luxury brand.
Oh, good for you.
Very posh. No.
What is the threshold? What is the number at
I don't
luxury?
know. It's different in every market
I
center,
see.
but yeah, I earned in. So I had a good
Excellent.
year this year.
You
and
had
so-
a great year.
Yeah, I
I'm
did.
so proud of you,
Thank
Mary.
you.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Excellent. And Mary's got her feet on
venture.
the ground.
I've got clients under my belt now with my new brokerage, and Remax is doing me well so far.
Super.
I really like it. It's very interesting. I have a set of clients that are from Russia. I have a client that's from Denver. It's just
all
sort of
relo, right?
It's
Relocation.
relocation.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are coming from all over
Wow.
to move to Massachusetts because their companies have said we'd love for you to join us in Massachusetts, and it's really exciting to get to know these all different types of people. That happens in real estate
Right.
regardless,
Right.
but finding
Really
out
far flung.
Yeah, but these are my Russian clients live in Birmingham, Alabama, and that's where they migrated to
Right.
a couple decades ago. And such an interesting mix for me.
Right.
And
A
what do
Russian
you find
Southern
about-
accent,
Yeah,
perhaps.
it's just I really find it fascinating, and I really like getting to know the things that they like about the areas and how they relate back to their
Home country.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very fun. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah,
And you, Mary Forrester, you've got a full head of hair
I do.
coming in.
And my hair is
beautiful.
coming in.
Yes.
Yes.
Looks so
I am
beautiful.
finished with radiation,
Gorgeous.
so life is good.
I
Life-
tried to say a little bit before we got started, but now it's going to be forced onto the recording. You look so beautiful. And
Absolutely
you
gorgeous.
really, really, really look so much like my mom did for
Really?
a long, long time in
When
her
she was
life.
recovering?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it just you're giving me such warm and fuzzy
Good.
vibes right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good. Great medical care. That's the gift. That's really a big gift.
Yeah, we're so
Excellent.
lucky to live where we do, to have that at our fingertips.
And speaking of medical care,
Yes.
we have a wonderful guest today. We have Nicole Hamel, who happens to be a medical professional. We'll hear all about it.
Yeah, welcome, Nicole.
Nicole, I
Nicole.
met through Westford Rotary and have had the pleasure of knowing her for about a year and a half now. And I tell you, I'm just in honor of this young woman. And so we're going to hear a lot about what's important to Nicole.
Yep.
But especially we're going to hear a little bit about a wonderful walk you took this past year. A little walk, a little stroll.
Just a little
in the
stroll, a
park.
little afternoon stroll.
So welcome, Nicole. It's so great to see you.
Thanks for having me. It's really a pleasure. I'm so happy we got to make this work.
Yes.
Yes,
Good.
thank you for
And
coming.
Nicole is recovering from some ankle surgery, so she's she's a what do you want to say? Kind of a captured audience today, a captured speaker. We got her down. We got her nailed.
She cannot get away.
I tell you,
It'll be a slow crawl.
there are silver linings, I have to tell you. So, Nicole, tell us how life is today for you. I know.
Life's a little rough today, I'll be honest. You know, I am a person who is on her feet 24/7, whether that's in my job or my regular life. And I broke my ankle a little over a week ago and had surgery, well, I guess almost a week and a half, and surgery about a week ago. So I am currently stuck in bed or on a couch, which for me is definitely difficult.
Right, because
okay.
you are a nurse, correct?
I am a nurse.
You're a nurse, right? And are you a trauma nurse? Is that what I understand?
I see you.
I see you. Okay,
nurse.
my apologies. So, knowing a lot of nurses, they're not always the best patients. How do you fit into that category?
You know, it's funny, right? Because I've been a nurse for, goodness, almost 7 years now. 6.5 probably. And, you know, I always said, like, if I have to be a patient, I am not going to be the nurses who are patients, you know, because it's like the worst, you know, the worst thing is when a nurse comes in and they're like the worst patient ever.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But honestly, I truly actually now have like a new understanding for my patients because, wow, I'm miserable. And it's sometimes really hard to kind of not come off as like annoyed or like, you know, upset with your caregivers when like my family has been doing nothing but take amazing care of me, but I'm in like so much pain and I find myself just being a little short with them.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, really, thank you. And I'm like, wow, these are things my patients do.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, it just gives me that like new kind of understanding to allow me to kind of be more patient, I think, with my patients in the future.
That's kind of great.
That's
I mean,
nice.
it's awful that you
A
have
horrible
to experience.
reset.
Yeah.
Horrible way to
ways.
experience that.
Tough ways.
But I'm sure ultimately your future patients are going to be grateful that you had this experience. You know,
I'm sure.
Strange how life works in that way.
Sure is.
One of I've been blown away because I'm fairly new in the Westford Rotary Club, and this young lady has already been the president of that club. Isn't that right?
I sure have.
You sure have. And the lore is that when your mother was president of the club, she was pregnant with you. Is that true?
Yeah, she might have conceived and given birth to me in that year that she was president.
Well, there's an old expression, you are what you were when. And so I think that, you know, this family is imprinted with a lot of service. But
you were born into the Rotary.
Born into service, exactly.
Truly was.
You had no choice.
Yes.
Yep.
But tell us about what motivated you to walk 5 months, 2,400 miles last year.
Oh, that's hard. So I have loved hiking since I was a little kid. We started hiking Washington almost every year when I was like the age of 5 or 6. My family would do it together. And then I had some family friends who would take me hiking every year. And I can just remember always being my happiest when I was out there. But as I got older through high school, I hated exercise. So like the thought of like doing any sort of physical activity, like gym, class, all that stuff, like I was like, this is awful. Why would I want to do that? And it wasn't until I got to college where I started, I had friends who were hiking and they were hiking the 4,000 footers of New Hampshire. And I was like, oh, I'm a hiker. Let me come with you. And I ended up going with them, and I moaned the whole way up and said some choice words as I was hiking up, and I was miserable, and none of them hiked with me ever again, which is really funny. Considering I probably hike more than all of them combined now.
That's funny.
Right.
But I kind of like took that as like kind of my like, you know, push to kind of get myself out there, to like get myself back in shape so that I could get out there. Because when you get to the top of the mountain, that feeling of being on top of a mountain is just like more amazing than like I can't even express in words. And so the Appalachian Trail had been a dream of mine when I was a little kid, when I first like met through hikers on Washington and on other hikes that we had done as a kid. I was like, wow, you can walk all this way. And honestly, I'm the type of person when an idea goes in my head, it's really hard for it to leave my head. So when I first heard about that Appalachian Trail, my brain was like, well, there's no way I'm not going to be able to figure this out. But then there was always that part of me was like, but what if I could figure it out?
The what ifs. Yes.
Right, the what ifs. And then, you know, I traveled for a year after I graduated high school with a service nonprofit. And I did that for like a year, and I ended up finding nursing as a career. And when I started traveling, when I started working as a nurse, I started learning about different options and avenues that you could do as a nurse. And something that I found was I could do some travel nursing. And travel nursing is great because it allows you to work 3-month contracts, and then you can take as much time off as you want to do the things that you love. And I'm a huge component of do what you love now while you still have the ability, because you never know what life's going to throw at you. I mean, look at me. I broke my ankle, and I'm looking at a 4 to 6, maybe year-long recovery.
Right.
You know, and like I can sit here and be like, I don't have any regrets because I have done so many things in my life that I'm like super happy about, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you didn't break that ankle on a mountain, right? It was sort of a mundane thing.
So I was going to hike 10 miles.
Okay.
And I sent my check-in message on my family and stepped not even 10 feet from my car and slipped on ice in the parking lot.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, like it wasn't even that. But to get back to your original question, I will go on forever. So I just wanted to hike the trail since I was a little girl. And the idea of just like being like brought down to your basic needs and necessities, you think about walking, food, and sleeping. Like that's all the things you have to think about, and just one foot in front of the other. There's just something about that just that puts me in this like headspace of just like feeling at home and complete. And so it was like, that was kind of my drive to get out there, was like, I just want to see what it's like to just not have any other worries in this world other than my basic needs. And just to see like what I was going to feel out there. And it truly was like, oh no, this is what I love. And I was like, I love being out here. I want to hike. I just did it for that love of the mountains and for that love of being out there.
Sounds like an incredible reset.
Yeah. No big revelation, no big trying to find myself. It wasn't anything like that. It was just love being out there, you know?
There's something called forest bathing. Have you heard of forest bathing?
No.
Well,
It's the Japanese art of healing in the forest. And so you had 5 months of forest bathing.
and
I sure did.
Yeah.
I sure did. Because the trees, there is energy in the trees. The trees are all interconnected. There's tremendous energy that they give off. There's a healing and protective feel from the trees. And so now in your recovery, it's time to look into forest bathing.
Somebody's got to wheel
you
her
out there. Yeah, that's the same thing I thought.
I'll do it.
You'll do it? Okay. Anyone that wants to wheel Nicole out.
Get a bunch
in
of
touch with
friends to
us.
carry you. It'll be fine.
What so impressed me about and we will post her YouTube video when we post this episode, was you said the hardest thing was food.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I liked some of your favorite breakfasts. That stuck with me.
Yeah.
But my question on that, I'm sorry, Mary. I know I just jumped to your question.
Go ahead.
But does it feel like suffering to you when you're, out there starving and only eating Rice Krispie treats? Although that's great, but that part of it. Do you ever feel like you're preparing yourself to go into suffering, or does it feel like you're preparing yourself to go into a joyful experience?
So, have you ever heard of the term type 2 fun?
No. Can't say that I have.
Tell us about it.
If you think of type 1 fun, you're doing something, you're having fun, you're laughing, while you're doing it, you're like, this is amazing. Type 2 fun is you're in an experience and it's hard, it's difficult, you're almost miserable part of the time. And you're like, why am I doing this?
So
but then
rewarding.
after you look back and you're like, wow, that was just so incredible. That's kind of how I look at it. Like, the food was awful, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Trying to force food down. I was miserable with my eating like all the time, but I wouldn't have changed it, like I wouldn't have not gone just because I knew I was going to be miserable, like for
Right.
5 months eating.
Yeah, so
you
the
know?
pros outweigh the
And-
cons.
Right.
Exactly.
Sure.
And you get to go to towns and you get to eat whatever you want in towns. And like, that's the greatest thing about this was like, I could go to town and I could eat whatever I wanted and generally didn't feel sick. I mean, occasionally I would eat too much and feel sick after,
Sure.
but I have a lot of stomach issues in general. Like food upsets my stomach pretty easily.
Right.
And on trail, I get to eat a lot more than like what I get to eat in my real life of foods that
Yeah, the amount
generally
of
wouldn't sit
calories
well.
you mentioned,
Yeah.
I was like blown away. I'm like, is that a
Driving.
Thanksgiving dinner every day?
It feels like it, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was still hungry after eating 4,000 calories a day. Like I would be still hungry.
It's
at the end
incredible.
of every
And
day.
you were still at a sort of a weight deficit
Right.
too,
18 pounds,
right?
you
I
said,
was.
right?
Yeah. It's incredible.
15, yeah.
15.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's not sustainable and it's not a way to lose weight.
No.
Like, I would never recommend it, but as like for that reason. But like, yeah, I was always at a calorie deficit. Like I didn't want to lose the weight, you know?
So,
no.
Nicole, this was like a giant major dream milestone, lifetime, maybe once in a lifetime, maybe more for someone like you. But what else? What are you going to do next? Like what's going to top that? That was amazing.
Well, my biggest dream since that, my next dream that I wanted to do is become an ICU nurse. I've wanted to be an ICU nurse since I graduated nursing school. So I'm currently on hold from that. I was still in orientation when I broke my ankle.
Oh,
You're there though.
but, I'm there, and
Yes.
I am just like so excited for the next chapter of like being an ICU nurse, learning how to be an ICU nurse, and just like really diving deep into like my career. But of course, I do have plans for more hikes in the future. Like I don't see my through hiking career as over. There are a lot of other long distance trails, two specifically, that they consider part of the Triple Crown of hiking trails. One is the Appalachian Trail, which I've done already. And then one is the Pacific Crest Trail, which runs from Mexico to Canada through California, Oregon, and Washington.
Oh, wow.
And the third one is the Continental Divide Trail that runs Mexico to Canada through New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana. And both of those trails will be trails I will do in my lifetime.
wow.
But the altitude
I
difference
don't-
is amazing, isn't it? With the
So
altitude?
different.
Yeah.
Different
so different,
challenges.
yeah.
That'll be great to hear those experiences.
For sure. And I probably won't bring my dog on those ones. So
Right.
that'll also be a different experience.
I
too.
was just thinking the wildlife is different out there as well. So you're, I forget your dog's name.
Kiko?
Kiko?
Kiko.
Yes.
Kiko.
So it sounded like he was having a great time out on the trail. And,
Oh, yeah.
And it would be a little scary for me as a dog mom being like, okay, there could be a grizzly right ahead.
Right,
you
or
know?
a snake or
Or-
something.
yeah.
The bad snakes in some of the areas you were in, copperheads and stuff.
Oh, and cats,
Yeah.
big old cats.
Big
Yeah,
cats,
yeah.
Bears.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
and honestly, that's not really the reason I don't think I want to bring him again.
Okay.
I think my reasoning is by the time I get to the point in which I'll do those, he is going to be older, right? Like he was 3 when I did this, and like he could probably still do another long distance trail up until age probably 7 or 8, but I wouldn't want to push it too much.
Yeah.
And then also those trails have a lot more logistics when it comes to animals. They have a lot more national parks,
Right.
where the dogs aren't allowed, as well as both trails have a significant amount of desert hiking, which Kiko has done a lot of desert hiking, but he doesn't do so well in the heat, and he's not very happy in the heat.
That makes
So
sense.
it's definitely, I want to make sure that I'm not putting him in a situation in which he's going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
So that's kind
dog
of why
mom.
I
Very
if I
smart dog
brought
mom.
him-
Yeah.
If I brought him, it would probably be for the Colorado section and the Wyoming section,
Right.
but not for the New Mexico section.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
So I loved your story about the vet and taking him to the vet. I thought, that just when you hear something like that, you think, yes, humanity, it's there. People
Humanity
are
is
generous.
restored.
Yeah, exactly.
In Luray,
Yes.
of all places.
Do you
too,
want to
Luray.
tell us that
Yeah.
story?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I actually just talked to the vet the other day. She's the sweet. Well, it was the vet's wife who did everything pretty much, but she is the sweetest lady. So Kiko was having some diarrhea issues. He had gotten into some bad water he shouldn't have had. And I'm generally really good. I try to filter all his water, or at least only allow him to drink out of like really good flowing streams. But he got into this puddle and I didn't notice it at first. I think he had just enough that caused him to have diarrhea for days. And like we hadn't slept for days. And so I ended up making a vet appointment in Luray, Virginia, had to hitchhike to the vet because I couldn't get a shuttle. No shuttle was available. And when I got to the vet, they took him in a little bit early and we had to sit outside because they still weren't allowing people inside because of COVID and everything, which is fine.
Right.
And I'm sitting outside waiting. She comes back out and she's like, okay, so we're going to put him on this medication and this is what we think. And, please call us if you don't think, if it's not helping, we can always order something else. And so then she goes, okay, it's going to be $40. And I was like, $40? And I did a whole vet visit. You did a whole assessment of him. You looked into his poop, you did all this stuff. She's like, yeah, we're only going to charge you for the medicine. And I was like blown away. I was like, really? She's like, yeah. She's like, I'm just so happy you brought him in. And I know some dog owners might not have done that if they were on the trail. And we just really appreciate it and want you guys to be able to continue onward. And then she was like, what are you guys doing tomorrow? And I was like, I don't know. We were debating taking a day off or, continuing on. She's like, well, if you take the day off, here's my phone number. Call me and you can come use my pool. And so she brought us to her house. We used her pool. We did laundry at her house. She bought us lunch, desserts. And then she drove us to Luray Caverns so that we could go look at the caverns and whatnot.
So
it was just an amazing experience. Yeah. And
What a
she's
person.
just so sweet.
So
I know.
that just reminds me of the other parts of your story where you talk about trail magic. And that is such a cool concept to me and one I had never heard about really before. And I was saying to the Marys just before we started that I've always sort of thought about trail hiking as a somewhat isolated activity unless you're going, with a specific group of people. But I didn't really ever consider the people you meet along the trail and becoming friends with them and the people alongside the trail that will, do a whole barbecue.
I thought that was really cute.
Yeah,
your
or
tramily.
Yeah.
I love that.
Your tramily. So is that something you look forward to when you're going out on a long hike? Is it something you can always count on being there? Are there just sort of always people out there?
So it depends on the hike. So in 2021, Kiko and I and a friend of mine and his dog hiked the Benton Mackay and the Pinhoti trails. So about 650 miles. And when we hiked those trails, we probably camped with other people 5 or 6 nights the entire time.
Okay.
And there just was not that many people on the trail. No one really knew about the trail. So trail magic wasn't really a thing. The only reason why the AT is different is the AT is a very, very popular trail.
Right.
And people go out of their way to specifically help AT through hikers because that's the culture that's been created on this trail. And it happens on other trails. It does happen on the PCT a little bit and a tiny bit on the CDT, but not nearly as much. The AT is really the place where the culture of trail magic is the thing.
Right.
The tramly thing, the meeting people along the way happens on all the trails. We met on the Pinhoti Trail. We met this guy night 1 or night 2, and I still talk to him on Instagram to this day. And
that's fabulous.
One girl that I met on that trail, her friend ended up being in my first tramily on the AT, and we just found out by happenstance because she recognized a Snapchat of Kiko. So it's the connections the trails create are amazing, and you meet people on every trail that you're on. You might not necessarily get a big tramily, especially because a lot of these trails, if they're lesser known trails, a lot of people are going out for a more solo experience.
Right.
But it's still there. There's still the ability to meet people and make friends along the way.
Was there ever a moment that you were like, why can't I just be there? Where it was a hard day and you were like, why am I doing this? Did you ever question yourself?
Never to the point of really questioning it. Never to the point of I just want to be done. But there were definitely a few days in the end in Maine where I was falling a lot. I have a lot of issues where I fall a lot when I hike, and now that I've broken my ankle, it's going to be something I think I talk to my doctor about to see if there's like a reason why I'm falling a lot. Because I've tried getting rid of distractors, and I've even tried hiking without Kiko, and I still fall. So I'm not, there's something up, and I'm not really sure exactly what it is. It might just be instability in my ankles, and working with a physical therapist might just be what I need to do. But, I lost my train of thought. Oh, bad days. Oh yeah. I did have, one really, really bad day in Maine where, Kiko got to a point where like he didn't want to hike without our friends. And I stopped to pee, and like mid pee, he like barks and pulls me forward and causes me to pee all over my shorts. And then like I get to the shelter. I'm in like a really bad need at the shelter. And one of my family members was like, let me take Kiko for the afternoon, like just take a break. And I was walking behind them, and then I slipped in the river, and I hit a very private area against a rock and just like lost it. I just started bawling my eyes out. I'm crying. I'm like just like miserable. But even in that moment, I never had the thought of I don't want to be here anymore.
That's incredible.
My only thought was I just want to be I just want to sleep. I just want to be in my tent. I want the day to be over, but not the trail.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So people people from the towns and the neighborhoods actually met you, somebody unknown, and brought you food and things like that?
A lot of times. So that specific day, when we got to our shelter, this guy, like while we were at the shelter, like at lunch, he canoed across this lake in hopes to find through hikers so he could make us sausage sandwiches.
How nice is that?
He like grilled sausage for us, and like he was grilling. We thought he was cooking his own lunch. He was talking, and then all of a sudden he looks at one of my guys next to him and says, "Here, you want this?" And like hands him
that
like
is so
sausage.
Sweet.
A nice hot meal.
Yeah, hot meal.
What a
and
treat.
We're just like, what?
Yeah.
And so people did this all the time. I had a couple people from reach out to me on Instagram who like met up with us and did trail magic, drove us around, and like spent like a couple days like supporting us just because they follow me on Instagram.
Well, so that's a good segue into what you're doing with your property.
Yeah. So is it your plan to open a hostel yourself?
So I've thought about the hostel, but after staying at a lot of hostels on trail, I realized like a lot of the people working there, or at least I can think of like one specifically where they just seemed very like unhappy, and it was just a lot of work. And not that I don't want to do the work, but I realized it was like not allowing some of these people to go and do the adventures that they want. And I still want to help other people. And so I'll talk about how I'm still going to help hikers, but I don't think I want to do a structured hostel. But my plan is, especially like this summer where I probably won't be doing a lot of hiking, is like go up to my property, set up there, give the hikers rides to towns, like, and just kind of do my own just trail magic rather than trying to make money off the hikers, which I don't really care about. Just like offer them like just a shuttle into town, or, you need a shower, just come use my shower real quick. Oh, you can't afford to stay anywhere, just set your tent up, it's fine, but not do it as like a scheduled, like, if you need like
nothing
this is
official.
Nicole, she's here, nothing official. But I just want to be able to help hikers in like some way. Yeah.
Do you feel like the people that generally do the trail magic are either current or former hikers themselves, or is it just an inspired like reverence for the trail hikers?
Honestly, not the best, but the trail angels is what we call them.
Okay.
The trail angels that did some of the best and some of the most meaningful trail magic were the ones that had never through hiked.
That's so incredible to
love
me.
That.
Yeah.
They have this dream of wanting to do it one day, but not sure if they'd ever going to get to it. So this is like their way to connect to the trail.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, because I am probably, I can solidly
You're a
say.
trail. You'll be a trail. You'd be a trail angel.
I'm really just not, though. I'm not.
Maybe not. No, but you're someone that gives, Mary. I could see you doing something.
No. I can do the giving, giving and connecting part. Yes, but I was going to say I'm not somebody who's ever going to hike the Appalachian Trail.
No, me either.
Yeah, I mean, I might walk on some of it. but not the whole
Yeah.
thing from even more than a mile.
Understandable.
No one understands that more than you, Nicole, right?
But it sounds like such a cool community of people that are all out there just to support each other, let them have whatever type of experience they're there for. Like you said, some people are just there to be solo hikers and you let them sort of go on. And the others who like to gather in the evening and make a tent circle together, that's what they do. Just sounds like such a cool community. And so not being part of that actual hiking world, it's kind of cool to know that those people exist out there that I could just go out with a big old macaroni and cheese and be like, here guys, have fun,
Oh yeah, they would
She's
love
happy.
it.
Look at that.
You did light up, Nicole.
Yeah, a hot meal, honestly.
Right.
The one thing is, if anyone is looking to do trail magic, just like word of caution is, have you ever heard of the term "leave no trace"?
Yes.
Is just make sure that you're following leave no trace practices.
Yes.
So like we ask if you're going to do trail magic, that you're there and present with that trail magic, that you are like picking up the trash and like not just leaving things for days because animals can get into it.
Yes.
Sometimes if you leave like a bucket out, hikers will throw their trash in it even though they're not supposed to, and it just kind of can create a lot of issues.
Right.
So just like keeping those leave no trace like principles like in your head.
Yeah. No,
when
that's
you're
a great
gonna do
point.
it.
That's a great point
Yeah.
for people to keep in mind.
So you're a landowner now. We'll ask you about some real estate stuff. So
Yeah.
you're a landowner,
Sounds good. Yeah.
and I think you have it paved at this point. Is that right?
Paved.
Quote, air quotes. Yeah.
I have a driveway. It's not concrete. It's like a rock driveway,
Rock driveway, okay, yeah.
essentially. But
And-
you
and-
can drive down it.
Congratulations.
It's the name driveway.
Oh yeah. And any structure yet, or do you have a plan, or what's the next step?
So I am in the process of figuring out what I want. So I don't know if the other two know, but I have been living in a van for the last couple of years, traveling with my dog. I have a converted Sprinter van, and I love tiny living. I love living in my van. I love the flexibility that my van gives to me. So I will always keep that van. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the land. I mean, obviously I want the land, and obviously I want a home base, right? Because like right now I have, my van, and then my parents is the only other home base I have, right? Because the whole point of the van is not paying for rent, so you can afford to build the house that you
Property
want.
taxes.
Yeah, well, I do have property
Now
taxes
she's
on my
got
land.
that.
Now you do.
Property tax. That's right, New Hampshire. Yeah.
Right. But so I've been like toying with the idea of like a tiny home, but then, maybe I do want a little bigger of a home, but I don't think like my parents' home is too big, right? Like I don't
Right,
need
it's
a
big
house
house.
this big. Right. But like a 2-bedroom, I think is kind of what I'm looking for. And I also want something unique. Like I don't want a traditional home. I don't actually like how a traditional home looks. Sorry. Talking
That's
to a bunch
okay.
of real estate people.
That's okay.
I think
We like all kinds.
Right, we do, yeah. And we deal with that all the time, and you know what you want and like, so
Yeah.
that's
That's
you're ahead
actually
of the game,
helpful.
yeah. So I've been debating like maybe like a treehouse style home or like a
Very
yurt
cool.
style home or like something untraditional so that
Sure.
like when I'm travel nursing, I could potentially Airbnb out
Yep.
like my house when I'm not there or something, just something to make it more appealing
Yep.
in general.
No, that
'cause if
sounds
I'm
very
gonna
cool.
live
Very forward
somewhere-
thinking.
Yep.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
I'm going to live somewhere, I want it to be weird. Like I don't want it to be
Yeah.
normal.
There you go.
I've seen
I
some-
love it.
I've seen
Unique.
some really cool yurt setups
Yeah.
in that scenario. Like you can put a couple of them together and make it just, they can be really beautiful, actually. Those are cool. Tree houses are also
Yeah,
very
tree
cool.
houses are very
You're
cool.
Hard to
Survive
get
Mongolia,
to.
yeah.
Hard to get to with a broken ankle,
Yeah.
however.
Yeah, that's the one problem.
It's going to be right. One other aspect about your trail, your trip is that this was not just about you. That
right.
You made it an opportunity to raise funds for one of your favorite charities, your favorite organizations, and you were very successful, very, very successful.
Yeah. So I raised money for Pegasus House and Women's View, which are two women's shelters run by the Psychological Center of Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And they are treatment and recovery programs for women suffering from mental health and addiction issues. And I think, we all have someone or know someone within 1 to 2 people of us who have suffered with, we all know someone, or if we're not suffering ourselves from mental health, and we also know people who are suffering from addiction. And oftentimes one of the things that people need the most is stability and structure and just someone to support them. And oftentimes people relapse, or people have, more issues with their mental health or more issues with their addiction when they don't have that. And so these organizations are just incredible of creating this like safe space and environment for these women. And I just think that women oftentimes are told to be strong and just to deal with everything, and that they got this. And as soon as something falters, and I'm sure you've all felt this, right? As soon as something falters, they're like, oh, come on, you're a strong woman, you could do it.
That's right.
But what we need is, what people need is that no, sometimes you need that help, and you need that step, and you need that leg up, and that's okay. And that's what this organization does for them. And not only does it just give them that leg up, it also teaches them how they can break out of their situation, and how they can, maybe get a place to live on their own and hold a job and, do all these things. They're going to help them be successful, which is what they want.
Yeah.
So
that sounds like a very worthy cause.
Yes, very.
It's amazing. And, I was able to raise over $16,000 for them.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, it blew my mind. I was hoping for 5,000, and I raised 5,000 before I left. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll get to 8,000, and honestly, I was looking like maybe I'd only make it to 8,000 until my final week on trail. I all of a sudden jumped from 8,000 to 16,000.
My
Awesome.
That's
goodness.
tremendous.
Awesome. People were urging you on. Yes.
I think so. I think it was people were waiting. Oh, is she going to finish?
She gonna go halfway. Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, shoot, she's going to finish. I got to
She's doing this. We gotta go. Yeah, she's gonna be done before we can donate.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm just so grateful to my friends and family, and even people who I don't know or barely know, in the amount of money that they just donated was incredible.
That's wonderful.
We had one of our first guests ran across the country, and I remember talking to him about
Dave McGilvery.
Yeah, Dave McGilvery, and I remember asking him about how he kept going, and those are the same questions that keep popping up with me for you. But he said a lot of it, because he was also connected to charity at the time, that it was just thinking about the people that he was helping. It was the Jimmy Fund, I believe.
Yeah.
And he also had help along the way, which was very encouraging,
True.
I think, too.
Yeah. But did you also find that knowing you were, doing this for a cause helped you in those sort of breakdown moments?
Yeah, I definitely have part of a relationship with the women there. I visited them, and they followed my journey. And I think part of my motivation to keep going was I just wanted to show them that we're capable of anything that we set our minds to.
Yep.
And, even if it's a goal that seems completely unachievable, like hiking 2,200 miles across the country, even though it seems unachievable, if we just push ourselves, we can do anything that we want to do.
Very true.
And I think that definitely helped push me, knowing that if I can show these women that I can do this, I can show them that they're capable of anything they can do.
You are doing an excellent job at that. You're very inspiring. You really are. I mean, you're very young, and you've accomplished so much, and it would be hard for any of those women to look at you and see something that they couldn't also do. It's very inspiring.
And to recover from a catastrophe like this.
Yeah.
Right. You seem to be taking it in stride, all right.
Yeah.
You're tough.
Yeah, no, we're getting there. We're definitely, we're getting there. I've been leaning more into art, and drawing and doing other things that I don't allow myself to do because I'm too busy getting out there and hiking.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been actually just interesting kind of like leaning into other indoor hobbies that I've kind of put on the back burner for a lot of years.
Yep. Get into some meditation.
A little
and all
silver
that.
lining.
Yeah.
Well, it's been awesome talking to you. Mary, any other questions for
No,
for
just
Nicole?
it's been a pleasure to meet
It
you,
sure
Nicole.
has.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
joining
so
us.
much. And
Sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
was
for
great.
dragging yourself to us and talking.
No
With one bad
worries.
wheel.
Yeah.
yeah. And let
No
us know what the next chapter is, and also if you have some fundraisers going on for Pegasus.
Yes,
Okay?
please let us know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is
Of
there a
course.
place that people could go if they wanted to donate to Pegasus, or is it more charity based?
If they do want to donate to Pegasus House, if they just Google Psychological Center, or I can give you guys the website. They
We'll
can
put it
donate
on there.
directly.
We'll put it on
Put
our
it when we
website.
drop the
Okay.
episode.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
they could totally just donate there. And then if anyone wants to follow my journey, is that okay? If I just
Absolutely.
plug that?
Yeah.
Away.
So I did document everything on my Instagram and my YouTube page, and I did a pretty much video every single day on YouTube. There are a compilation of videos, so it's probably like 20 or something. And so my Instagram and my YouTube page are both Nurse on the Trail. And now that I'm injured, I'm actually been posting a lot more reels about like trail life and what I've been
Okay.
doing, what I did on trails. So I'm going to be posting a lot more content to help future through hikers since I can't really do anything myself. I figured I can give back in that way.
That's so cool. Well,
Fantastic,
you will
Nicole.
definitely have at least one new follower by the end of today.
I'm sure Mary Forrester already follows you. But cheers to a speedy recovery,
Yes,
Nicole.
to a speedy recovery. Thanks,
much.
Nicole.
Yeah, cheers to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.